Hello everybody, welcome and thank you for joining us for tonight's live stream. My name is Ingrid Schwarzkopf. I'm a recruitment officer for the Faculty of Engineering. Tonight with us we have Helen Bright here from the admissions office, and she will be guiding us through some information regarding next steps and what we're going to be requiring of you in your application. Now, just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. We will have an opportunity for us to take some questions from the chat. We also have some of my colleagues on the chat, so feel free to put in any questions that you might have, and they'll be happy to answer the questions that you have. And now, without a further ado, Helen, thanks again for joining us tonight. I know it's a very busy time right now. So without a further ado, I'll pass it over, and we appreciate your time tonight.
Okay. Hi everyone. So tonight just talking about the next things you need to do to make sure your application is complete. The one thing I always like to remind everyone to do is to check their applicant portal regularly. So we will put a link up to the applicant portal. And the most important thing you need to do right now, if you haven't already, is to complete your online student profile. The deadline for that is next Wednesday, February 1st. If you have any questions about how to complete that, we recommend that you watch our video that we put together that takes you through the steps of completing all 6 steps. As soon as you've got that in, we can review your application. For students who have studied some of their high school outside of Ontario, either in another province or overseas, it is important that we also get your complete transcript. So if you've been in Ontario for your entire education, your guidance office will submit your grades. You have nothing to worry about. But if you have done some of your studies outside of an Ontario high school, make sure to upload a transcript to the applicant portal as soon as possible so that we can make sure we've got your full academic history when reviewing your application. In terms of decisions, for Ontario students, we make decisions in 3 rounds. A small number of offers will go out in the coming weeks in February for students who have completed their profile early and who have a complete set of certainly grade 11 grades and perhaps some of their grade 12 grades in already. As I say, that's a fairly small round. Much larger group of decisions will go out to students by the end of March. And then everyone who doesn't have a decision by the end of March will be reconsidered again and will get a decision sometime in May. If your first language is in English, make sure again to check the portal to see if we have your English facility requirement. If you're submitting TOEFL or another test, or you plan to meet the English requirement some other way, just again make sure to check the portal to see if we have what you need to submit. For all students, you will automatically be considered for scholarships on the basis of the information that you provide on your online student profile. So we do encourage you, especially when you're completing the extracurricular section, to take your time to complete that. That information is used both for admission and scholarship purposes, and it can really make a difference in terms of the size of the scholarship that you'll be receiving and how we can consider your application. So really take your time to complete that. Even if you've already submitted it, you can certainly make changes to make sure you're giving a full account of your extracurricular involvement. There are some awards that may require extra applications, certainly at the university level. So again, we encourage you to visit our website where you can see all of the information. If there's anything you'd like to be considered for, you can submit the information. And something certainly for all of our Canadian students to complete the UTAPS estimator before February 26th. Again, there's a link on our website and we'll share the link with you now. If you complete this estimator and you do have financial need, there's an entire group of awards that we can consider you for. And if you don't complete that form, we can't consider you. So very, very important that you get that in. Regardless of whether you receive an award, the UTAPS estimator is a great way to find out what you may be eligible to receive in OSAP funding and also what you may receive in grant funding from the university. So certainly complete that to get a better picture of your finances for the years ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Helen. That's some great information. Just a little bit of a recap. So Helen went over some very important information on next steps of completing your application, and there will be a link that my colleague Amanda will put up in the chat so you can review afterwards, as well as information on English language facilities. So if you need to review that, Amanda will put that link up there for you as well. In addition to that, scholarship information, and as Helen mentioned, financial aid links will be posted in the chat for you to review just to see what is the right fit for you. I see that this time we have some questions coming in, so we will turn over to some questions, and there is a few that have come in, so thank you for everyone for contributing. And thank you to Helen again. First question that we have, Helen, is if I choose aerospace engineering, but I do not like it, am I allowed to switch to mechanical engineering?
So aerospace engineering at the University of Toronto is actually part of our engineering science program. Now, engineering science is unique in that a student admitted to engineering science can make the choice to transfer to any other engineering program within the first few weeks of their studies if they're not happy after first term or after first year. So that is an option that's offered to engineering science students if they'd rather be in a more traditional engineering program. For students in other engineering programs, coming from our Track 1 program, after first year you can switch into a program of your choice. And to students in any of our Core 8 programs, you have the option to transfer after first year. It is an application process and it isn't guaranteed, but we do our best to accommodate requests to transfer.
Great, thank you. So the next question that we have is, when will I hear from U of T Engineering regarding my application?
So as I mentioned, for Ontario students, we do make our decisions in a series of rounds. So our first batch of decisions will be going out in the next few weeks, probably by mid to late February. And then very close on the heels of that, we make another round of decisions in mid-March. A larger group of students will hear in that round, and then everyone is reconsidered in May. So as we get more information about your academics, you get reconsidered in every round. So if you don't hear an early decision, don't fear. We make sure we leave ample space for students whose grades maybe come up a little bit and later in the term.
Oh, great. So another one that we had come through is, what is the purpose of the online student profile? Do extracurriculars really matter?
Absolutely. So the online student profile is just a really great way for us to find out more about who you are as a person. We know you've all been spending a lot of time doing your best academically, but there's more about you as a person, what you've done outside the classroom, things that you've been involved in the community, in your school community, and we know those will help you to be a better engineer. Further to that, your personal profile tells us more about your communication skills, your problem-solving skills, and all of that information is used in making a holistic admissions decision.
Great.
And certainly with regards to extracurricular activities, both for admissions purposes and for scholarship purposes, that will weigh in. So just to repeat one more time, take your time when you're completing your online student profile to do it carefully so we can get the best picture of you.
Definitely. Great. So again, another question regarding the online student profile, Helen, is are we required to submit reference letters?
So we don't require letters from references. However, we do ask you to provide the name of someone who can verify your activity. So certainly if it was a school activity, it's best if we can get the name of a teacher, if it's your coach, or if it's an organization, the name of a manager or someone there, a supervisor who can verify your involvement. We don't necessarily check every reference, but we certainly do reach out to references. So make sure we have up-to-date contact information.
Perfect. I'm sure that's great to hear, because that's one less thing off everyone's list. You don't have to get a letter, just the contact information. So we have a few more questions coming in, and this is a very great one. Does it really matter how I rank U of T Engineering on my OUAC application?
So at U of T Engineering, we have a broad-based admissions process, which means that we look at the entirety of your application when making our admission decision. So it is a small piece of our decision, but it definitely not a major factor in our decision, and many students who don't have U of T as their first choice will still receive an offer to the university. But we want to make sure of the students we admit that we have students who we know want to be with at U of T.
Yeah, perfect. Great to hear. Another one we had come in was, where can I check the status of my application to U of T Engineering? I think we might have touched on this, but do you mind reiterating a little bit, Helen?
Absolutely. So again, just check the portal for anything that you need to submit, anything that we require from you will be there. As applications start to be reviewed, we will update your admission status there as well.
It really is your home base, right, Helen?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just check it on once a week. Just make sure there's nothing else we're asking for, and then everything's up to date.
I would recommend putting it on your favorite tabs.
Good idea.
Right? All right, just a few more. So how are scholarships determined? Will I know if I have a scholarship in my offer letter? Great question.
So certainly we make scholarship decisions at the time when we're making offers. For students who receive an offer early in the cycle, you may get reconsidered for scholarships later on so that we are sure that we're being fair to all applicants. So you'll be considered at the time of admission and then right through into the May round. We have university level scholarships, there's faculty level scholarships, and then depending on the department that you're admitted to, there's departmental scholarships as well, and they all have slightly different criteria. But for the most part, they are automatic based on the information you provide academically and on your profile.
Perfect. And I think we'll just wait a few seconds. I think we have a few more coming in. Okay, great. So my next one is I've applied, and what is the deadline to submit all my documents?
So if you have documents to submit, such as English facility, or if you were studying outside of Canada previously, we recommend that you get everything in by February 1st. For English facility, you have until February 15th if you want to be considered in the March round. The final date to get your documents into us to be considered by the May round is April 1st.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. Okay, we have time for 2 more questions. So second last question, I have attended a high school outside of Canada for grade 9 and 10. Do you need a transcript for for that school to be submitted?
So we do recommend any studies that were done within high school outside of Ontario that you get a transcript to us as soon as possible, just in case we have any questions about your academic history, that we have those available so we don't have to follow up later on in the process.
Yeah.
But certainly as long as we have your grade 11 and grade 12 marks, we can consider your application.
Perfect. And also to add to that, Helen, I'm sure you, as students, you might be aware that there is a submission button, an upload feature in your portal. So if you have the unofficial document, they could very well upload that.
Absolutely.
transcript.
We don't need the certified document to come to our office, just an uploaded version that we can use for screening your application.
So if anyone's worried about that with the time frame of trying to meet the Feb 1st, that's a solution that's easily could be resolved.
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right, Helen, and we have our final and last question of the night is I uploaded my documents and transcript to join. Do I still need to upload it on the engineering applicant portal?
So again, if there were any documents that you needed to submit to support your application, we recommend those come directly to the engineering applicant portal so that we can make sure we've attached it to your engineering application. So it's a quick thing to just log on and upload that document again. So we would recommend that you do that rather than hoping that it finds its way to your engineering application.
Perfect. It looks like we've covered all of our questions. Helen, is there anything else that you wanted to mention or cover tonight?
Really, just to reiterate again, to get that student profile form into us by next week, and that's really the key step to making sure that you get your application in and get your admission decision as soon as possible.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you for joining us tonight. And again, if you have any other questions, my colleague Amanda will put up our contact information for both the admissions and recruitment office. So you're more than welcome to contact us if you do have any other questions that you need to address with us. And thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.